I have worked in the beauty industry for the last 27 years. And I've done makeup and eyebrows for people like Britney Spears, and I've taught Taylor Swift how to shake, shake, shake it off. And I told Cher that I would try to turn back time. I actually met Cher in a very cute way. I was doing a lot of work for InStyle magazine at the time, and they invited me to a party for legendary makeup artist Kevin Aucoin. And the event started at 9 p.m., so being super cool, I showed up at 8:45, and they were literally still setting up the venue when I got there. There were no people around. So I walked around and I made my way downstairs where I found some people to hang out with. And about an hour later, there was a buzz going through the room. Cher's upstairs, and some people were saying, who cares, so what? But I was not about to miss the opportunity to see what she looks like in person. So I went upstairs and I found out that while I was downstairs, 50,000 people showed up to this event. And I look across this ocean of people and I see Kevin Aucoin, who is very tall, standing on a platform, and he was shaking hands with the crowd like a rock star. And standing next to him was Cher, also shaking hands with people. So I had some liquid courage, and I made my way to the platform, and eventually Cher takes my hand and looks me right in the eye. And I swear to God, time stood still. We had a moment. The whole room froze. I never experienced anything like that before or since. And just then, the girl standing next to me takes Cher's other hand and kisses it and starts jumping up and down saying, I kissed Cher's hand, I kissed Cher's hand. And Cher turns to me and does the eye roll, which was everything. And I handed her my business card, and she held it up to the light and put it in her back pocket. And the crowd kind of pulled me away, and I don't even remember the rest of the evening. 3 weeks later, I walk into Bergdorf Goodman, the department store, and I had a counter at Bergdorf at the time for my cosmetic line. And I go into the cosmetic department, and people come up to me and they said, you'll never guess who's at your counter. Cher is at your counter. So I hoof it over to my counter, and there's no sign of Cher, and there's no counter manager, there's no one around. So I look around, and I see my counter manager, who was like a 20-year-old kid, at another brand's counter, pulling products out of a cabinet. And I go up to him, and I go, Jason, Cher was here? And he goes, yeah. And I realized he was in shock. This is a kid who goes to Cher concerts, and all of a sudden, like, his head exploded when she showed up at her counter. And I said, hello, where did she go? And he said, she's standing right behind you. And I turned, and her face was right here, like right here, smiling from ear to ear because she heard the whole exchange. And I turned 4 shades of purple and tried to compose myself and be cool. And I was like, hey, we met at Kevin's party. And she could not have been lovelier. She bought 3 of everything in my line and started asking me questions about the products. And she said things like, you know, will it make me break out? And I remember thinking, I think you're a little past breaking out, but I didn't say anything, you know. And but for years I sent her products after that, and every time I've met her in person, she could not be nicer, which is everything you would want from Cher. And this sounds very glamorous, and it is. But I've also had my share of Bridezilla clients over the years, and Bridezillas love the word fiancé because it sounds so much like finance me. True story, I had a woman come to me for a makeup trial for her wedding, and she said, make me look perfect, but don't use any foundation, concealer, eyeshadow, blush, or lipstick. That's like me saying, make me happy, but don't use any pizza, puppies, or porn. She went on to tell me that she's been to 60 different makeup artists. Think about that, 60. And no one could do what she wanted. I said, someone is actually marrying you? Yeah. Another client showed up to my studio, all upset because on her way to her brow appointment, a homeless man called her a cunt. I'm quoting. I said, oh my God, how did he know you? There's nothing like a near-death experience to make you think about reincarnation. I used to believe in reincarnation in my previous life, but not anymore. A few years ago, I was run over by a delivery guy on a moped, and I had a head trauma. Luckily, I'm fine, but a few years ago, I was run over by a delivery guy in a moped, and I had a head trauma. Actually, I really am okay, but I did really lose my sense of smell and taste in the accident, so I'm thinking I may start sleeping with women. I was warned at the time of the accident that a lot of weird things could happen as my brain was healing. I might forget how to spell things, I might forget words. And it was about 8 months later, I seemed to be out of the woods, and I was out to dinner with my then boyfriend of 3 months, and I was just making conversation, and I said, do people ever call you Tom, or is it always Thomas? And he said, my name is Martin. So no. And anyway, after Tom and I broke up, I went back to dating, and I met a new guy online, and he told me he worked in the film industry. And it turned out he was an extra in Mariah Carey's movie Glitter. Yeah, it went downhill from there. In his pictures, he looked tall, dark, and handsome, and I get to the restaurant, and I see a tall, dark, handsome guy sitting at the bar, and I go up and I say hello, and he nods politely as I see a fat queen sitting behind him, waving me down, and it turned out my date was an extra. And I said, surprise, I gained 30 pounds since my pictures. And I said, surprise, you've gained 60. I've been single for so long, the Kraft wants to name a cheese after me. People tell me I look good for my age, which is my favorite backhanded compliment. But I always say no matter how good you look on the outside, things are still rotting on the inside. I tell them I have the organs of Dorian Gray. And speaking of looking great for their age, Jane Fonda, Lily Tomlin, and Dolly Parton want to do a sequel to their hit movie 9 to 5 from over 40 years ago. And they're changing the name to 95. Tumble out of bed and stumble to the kitchen, and I've fallen and I can't get up. I'm Ramy, everyone. Thank you.